Hey everybody, Kat here. Welcome to the channel. Hope you're having a great day. It is a little after 8 Monday morning and we've got some really good information. Things are really moving in a direction I've been talking about for a long time. If you followed me at all, you'll know there's two main themes to this channel. Well, more than two, but two of the big ones are my two playlists. King Charles III, Does Life Imitate Art? And The Time Loop, which concerns a historical overlay as I see it between events with Harry and Meghan and the Duke and Duchess of Windsor, Edward and Wallis, over 80 years ago. And what is going on now seems to me that it's all converging. All the events are rolling into one to where you can kind of see where it's going. And I mean, I've been saying certain things all along. From the beginning of this channel, I've been saying that the king is not going to have a very long reign. And I was saying this like a couple of years, in that kind of time frame. And that was I was saying that even before there was a cancer diagnosis, and I'm sticking to it. I mean, as the events unfold, I can see it happening. So there's that. I also say that there's going to be a particular event that really turns the tide against the king, and that William's going to step in and kind of take over and turf him off the throne. And this is what I think is going to happen. Now, we have seen through many statements made and actions done that William behind the scenes is kind of calling the shots in a lot of ways. We see that happening. As far as Harry and Meghan go, if you look at the time loop and you follow along, where we're at now is these fake tours. These fake tours. Well, indeed, Wallace and Edward accepted an invitation and had a fake royal tour when they visited Germany and German officials. And of course, it was pre-war, but they actually met with Hitler, and they were discussing things with different other government officials, like social issues, housing, economics, these kinds of things, and look at Harry, the things he's involved with, social issues, internet safety, climate change, all these different, but we know it's BS. Harry and Meg show up and do good. No, it's show up and get photographs taken and license the photographs, so anybody who wants to print your pictures got to pay you. That's what it's a grift. And Wallace and Edward were big grifters too. Watch the series. It's amazing. It's amazing. Both of them corrupt as the other. And the same with Harry and Meghan. And I mean, it's all following in place. These fake royal tours that Harry and Meghan are doing now, this last one to Colombia, there's all kinds of hubbub. Did Meghan and Harry pay for this? Which would make them look really pathetic. I mean, that came out after the Colombian vice president got in trouble for, apparently over $2 million for this junket 3 days for Harry and Meghan in a country that, the people are really having a rough time. And she's so corrupt and spending this kind of money on something that, somebody they don't even know who, and it's pointless to bring them over. The whole thing is a scam. And but the interesting thing And how I kind of recognize a hit in a time loop is when you see things in print and it's like, wow, that was exactly what was said 85 years ago, and it's happening again. There's kind of confirmation of it. And here's the thing, you've got royal commentators talking about these trips, and and there has been at least one mention, a correlation between these trips and the trip to Germany that the Duke and Duchess of Windsor made. And the point was made that both men welcomed these tours because it was an opportunity for their wives to be treated like royalty. Edward was always just furious that Wallis was not allowed an HRH title. She was not ever treated like royalty, right? Well, now with Meghan, we know right from the beginning she had a big chip on her shoulder because she thought she was, if not equal to, even better than Kate. And so she was really ticked that she was not front and center and, the most important royal. She couldn't be the most, well, of course, the queen, but, Meghan doesn't care if she can't be the number one. She doesn't want to be there at all, right? And so she had real trouble fitting into the protocol of the whole thing, right? And she never acted royal. She was never really accepted as a royal because she was like right from the start, she was combative. So Harry, and especially now, to try to make it up to her, he he wants to give her the opportunity of having people curtsy to her, having, her be celebrated and catered to in these royal tours in the same way that Edward wanted for Wallis. So even the mindset of the two men at this time in history, in the historical overlay, they're acting the same way, which is really, that to me, and when it comes out in print, that, this is what was happening with Wallis and Edward, and this is why he did it, and then this is why Harry and Meghan, this is why Harry's acting this way. So it's kind of spooky in an interesting way, and you can see things develop, and we know at the time of the exiled Windsors and the trip to Germany pre-war, that caused all kinds of diplomatic trouble. The government wasn't happy, the royal family wasn't happy, nobody was happy with them. These latest fake royal tours that Harry and Meghan have been on, the latest being the Columbia trip, uh, they've put a real bad taste in the royal family's mouth. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to have them, and the way they behave during these tours, even, like it really, it makes the royal family look really bad. First of all, that they can't control these two and they let this kind of stuff happen. So, by that way of thinking, are they kind of condoning it? Like, what's going on? Why doesn't Charles talk to these governments and say, don't do it, don't bring them over, don't treat them like royals. This is not sanctioned by the royal family. But, that in itself, Charles has got himself in a real untenable position here because we do know that he is still funding them, funding their security. We know that that some area of the American government and the British government are still funding them. We know this. So if you're funding their lifestyle and their behavior, you're in a sense condoning what they're doing. So it's really hard to come out and say, they're not royal, don't pay attention to them, don't uh, bring them in on tour. Charles can't say, and this is the thing. This is the thing. We are facing a convergence of my two themes, the time loop and life imitating art. And we're at that point where Charles is backed into a corner. We've heard that with everybody up at Sandringham right now, they're calling it another Sandringham Summit. Are they in Sandringham or in Scotland right now? Anyway, they're all together. They're in Scotland. That's it, because they were seen at church the other day, and Catherine was seen in the car. So that's a good sign. Sorry, guys. Yeah, we're up in Scotland. The family is together, and apparently they're having a summit. A series of meetings to come up. What do we do going forward with Harry and Meghan, and presumably, but with Andrew there, how awkward is it? All the Andrew stuff going on too. That's another video in itself. We're just sticking to one theme today. The convergence. We're in a position where Charles is losing the confidence of the people, of the government, even of his own family. Richard Eden in the paper the other day was saying that, Charles had met with spiritual leaders to figure out how to deal with Harry and Meghan. And, so therefore, well, yeah, the Christian thing to do is forgive, and Charles is a Christian, technically as head of the Church of England. Yeah, and forgiveness, absolutely. But the thing about it is, he can forgive him all he wants for his bad behavior, but that doesn't mean bringing him back into the fold and under the wing and back in the royal family, and we're just going to pick up where we left off, and we'll be nice to you and let you do, all your good tours, and we'll be support. The rest of the royal family will not allow it. William will not allow Harry and Meghan anywhere near the throne. He won't allow it. And this is where push is going to come to shove. I have said from the very beginning that I thought Charles's reign was going to be short, couple of years. And that was before we even had the cancer diagnosis, because I said there was going to be an event that is going to divide the nation, that is going to pit him against the government, the people, and indeed his own royal family. And I think these issues with Harry and Meghan and how bad it's getting, I think this is the event. I think this is the event. Now, we know something's coming up in the future. Like, if you want to say, well, how long is it going to take? What's it going to, what's my timeline? Well, I don't exactly know, but I know that time is short. We know that there is plans for in November for Charles and Camilla to go to Australia as part of a tour. The CHOGM, the whole Commonwealth meetings are being held in, I think, Malaysia or something. So anyway, in that vicinity as well. So he'll attend that, and then they'll go on to this tour of Australia, but not New Zealand. They've cut that out. They've limited, so they're tweaking it. But apparently he's going to be well enough, or they seem to think so, in that they are planning for this for November, okay? Um, so you say, well, that's a few months. That's a few months away. How much more? And I mean, in the papers now, in the press, in on social media, the whole the whole issue about Harry's visa. There's been the judge made an order the other day. Um, he wants to discuss the information with at least one of the parties. We don't know who, we don't know the details, we don't know what they want to discuss, but there's something going on. So it's still active. Will we ever find out exactly? Well, I think he's got that A1 visa to begin with anyway, because he's the king's son. Can that be taken away? Will that be taken away? Will Charles take away their titles, thus allowing the government in kind to follow suit and take away the peerage titles, the Duke and Duchess and the Earl of Dumbarton and those kind of things, right? It's all in place. It can all be done. And this is what everybody wants. We've got a shot, really. Harry and Meghan are causing so much damage to the royal family. This is a couple, I mean, Meghan is purported to have said we are one plane crash away from the throne. We know that there's been controversy and conversation from the Queen on down to King Charles now to William saying, you got to stop flying helicopters, you got to stop flying your family around. We cannot take a chance on anything happening to you. William's got to take this seriously. And I think he might start to be seeing what he's got to do, right? How he's got to pull the family through this difficult time. He's got to neutralize Harry and Meghan, and he's got to keep the monarchy safe for his son. That's a lot of responsibility, and William can do it. He's quite stubborn, but is he going to stop flying? Are we going to have some kind of horrible event that leads to Harry and Meghan on the throne? I hope not. I hope not. So it's a double-edged sword. I mean, William has to step up. He's got to oust his father and take control. For the saving of the monarchy itself. Now, William doing that just proves he's a heck of a tyrant. And is that, wow. It's going to be interesting times, but this is what I think that we're going to be seeing, and I would say within the next, by spring, at least, we may see the abdication of King Charles and the rise of William. That's what I think is going on. I think it's all coming together. It's all converging now. I think we're in for a very interesting few months. Maybe I'm wrong, but I might be right. We'll see what happens. Take care, everybody. Like, subscribe, share this video, and leave me a comment. I want to know what you have to think about all this. Have a great day, everybody.